Hey, I'm Sean Astin. I'm here with Sean Evans at Back to the Movies.
We are standing on the edge tonight. Make the week so we can fly. Standing over the edge, falling over the edge. Yeah, yeah. We are hanging on the edge tonight. Need 1,000 wings to fly. Standing over the edge.
Before this interview commences, here is a public service announcement from Sean Astin.
Do you know what the Fox is?
I have no idea.
What the Fox is a Scandinavian music video that was done as an advert for their station, I believe. And it has reached 145 million hits.
Wow.
So one of my listeners came in and said, hey, why don't you do what does the Vox, V like victory, say? So I went out and did it. And what you'll see when you watch it is it goes, what does the Vox say? And I dance and do a lot of silliness and performing, and I got a comedy troupe to come out there. So I would encourage your listeners, if they're listening to the, pause this, open another window, watch what does the Fox say, then go to watch what does the Vox say parody, watch my thing, and then come back and listen to the rest of this interview. That's what I would say.
On the show, we have Sean Astin, who is here to talk to us about his Kickstarter campaign, Vox Populi. Now, how are you today, Sean?
Most excellent, Sean.
Fantastic, it's good to hear. Now, for our audience out there who don't know, can you tell us what Vox Populi actually is all about?
Absolutely. So the words Vox Populi mean in Latin, voice of the people, which might sound a bit, arrogant. So we actually wrote the words Vox Populi, voice of the, and then in quotations, occasionally interested people. So it's Vox Populi, voice of the occasionally interested people. And it's basically a radio show, podcast, but you can also watch it streaming live, or you can watch it archived. And it's a political show, a show about politics and government. But it's different than a lot of the shows that are out there, because the premise of the show is that we speak about all the issues that are out there from every point of view, but we do it in a respectful tone, which doesn't mean you can't have a strong point of view. It just has to be done in a way where you're not questioning somebody else's intentions, and you're not using inflammatory rhetoric, and you're just, in a calm state of being, sharing why you believe what you believe, or why you think what you think, or just asking questions. We have lots of fantastic guests on the show, and, a lot of times nobody can tell if I'm a Democrat or a Republican, because no matter who's asking the questions or who's answering the questions, what guests we have, there's always a little bit of, I'm curious. And so I ask questions for that in order to understand it more. And those questions can make it seem like I'm, really helping the guest out, or that I'm really trying to catch them or get them off guard or something. But it's none of that. It's important to know that it's a show that's not about persuasion. We're not trying to persuade you to do something different. We're not trying to just stand up and, I love watching Prime Minister's Questions, and it seems so often like I don't know who's being spoken to, because everybody who says everything is already agreed with by everybody else who's saying it, and then they're, and they're never going to agree with the people on the other, the other side. So it's much like American Congress, except that in American Congress they start things out with sort of disingenuously sometimes with my good friend from the state of Missouri happens to be the biggest flame-throwing jerk you ever met, and the distinguished congressman from Alaska is I wouldn't trust him to serve my food. So anyhow, at least the British Parliament it's honest. You can sort of see what you're getting. But that's it. So we're all about if I had somebody on whose viewpoint was completely opposite of me, you wouldn't be able to tell, because I really want to know. I want to understand, because generally people of goodwill who are intelligent, there's a reason that they believe what they believe. And if you don't understand what that is, then your disagreement with them doesn't carry a lot of weight. You have to really understand somebody's argument and be able to address it specifically in order to have any chance of getting more than just the people who already agree with you to understand and to support your point of view.
It is really nice to see that you're not biased when it comes towards the politics there. I mean, I know personally over here in the UK, it's like what we say goes. We don't want any other outside opinion. What we say is right. It's really nice that you're listening to both sides of the equation and you're listening to the collective rather than just the small minority there. So it's really nice to see that. So,
well, the thing is, there's a time and a place for everything. You know, I am a Democrat, and if I go out to campaign for a congressional person or campaign for a president, the way that I speak to a group of students or, you know, people, elderly people at an old folks home, or, you know, a stadium full of people, is totally different than how I speak in, or maybe totally different. It's still me, and this kind of persona that you see is really who I am. But this radio show, Vox Populi, is a forum. It's a specific forum. It's a time and a place and a way for people to come together and learn about and share about and express themselves about politics and government, not just politics. And so that's, you know, we need more places like that in the world. You know, there are lots of them, but nobody knows where they are. The ones that get the most amount of attention are the ones who are very combative with each other. So I think that there is a time to fight for what you believe in, but there's also a time to learn, and what I tell people is the key to civic discourse, civil discourse, is listening.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Vox Populi has been set up as a Kickstarter, and it's just recently become fully funded. So first of all, amazing congratulations to yourself there, Sean. It was an amazing campaign, and it's still going. So what will the new introduced stretch goals help to contribute to, and what is your vision for the future of Vox Populi?
Great question. Thank you for it. The original purpose, I couldn't do it anymore. I did 36 episodes of the show by myself, essentially, producing it, you know, the host, doing research materials and pulling clips, and then trying to find guests to be on the show and calling them, booking them, managing their schedules, and then trying to make people aware of it by doing all the tweets myself. And, you know, I wasn't very good at making Facebook posts at that point. And, you know, so we got 12 to 15,000 listeners each week, listener viewers, on the strength of kind of one guy who only had one real core competency. So I sort of ran out of steam and thought, I can't do it anymore unless I have help. And then when the U.S. government shut down, I thought this is the best moment to launch this, because the problems that my show try to address are exactly, you know, on the spine of what happened in D.C. And I think the whole country is paying attention right now. So this is a chance. And the reason I set it at 30,000 because I didn't know if I'd be able to even raise that much, because even though I'm an actor and a lot of people know who I am, this is a political show. And like anywhere, when you you just say the word politics, 97% of the people you talk to just shut down. They look away. They're not interested in it. It's a turnoff. So I thought it might be a little bit of a hard slog to get to my 30,000. What I wanted to get for the 30,000 was a producer, the ability to hire a producer, and then maybe a part-time person or a couple of volunteer people that the producer could manage to do all those tasks I just mentioned a minute ago. And then when we got to 30,000, it was fantastic. Then you start thinking that we did that in 16 days out of a 30-day plan. And for your audience who doesn't know what Kickstarter is, it's a game. They basically give you a set period of time, and if you set it for 30 days or 50 days, no more than 60, then you go. If you don't raise your money by the close of it, then you don't get anything. And if you do, then you're sweet and you can keep raising it. And a lot of people raise, you know, 500 times what they were originally asking for. So when we got there, I was thinking, what should be my ambition for a stretch goal? And I picked two. One was if we got to 50,000, we'd be able to hire a producer full time. And then I want to get to 60, and we're just at about 50,000 right now. We'll probably hit it in the next few minutes. I don't know exactly when the show's when you're gonna put it up, but as of 12:20 p.m. on Monday, you know, Pacific Coast time, we're just under, like, a few $100s under the $50,000 goal. So that's a fantastic success that we'll definitely reach. And then, you know, we have less than 48 hours. We have 24, 48. Oh, we probably have about 50 hours to reach the 60,000 goal. And with 60,000, and I'm working so hard, and I'm so grateful to all the volunteers who are helping and all the people who are pledging and backing the show. We're going to get an app for the show. And this is, you know, I came up with a little mantra: get the app, get the app, get the app. Because people like the music that goes into, and people can remember it. Because I really want it. It makes it. People say, well, how can I find the show? And it's really hard to describe right now to people how to get the show. I'd love to be able to say, just get the app. It's one place. You touch it. You can stream it live. You can call in there. You can send in your written comments in real time, so we can include them in the show. We can. You can have the shows archived, and you can search for by date, by date, by topic, by guest. There can be additional materials. There can be and there's a bunch of other really cool things that apps deliver. And to me, the ability for the show to extend its reach to other people, like more and more and more people, just build the audience by double it or triple it, I think will happen if we can have a really great world-class app. So I'm really asking for people's help. And the thing is not just help. There's things that people get for it. We're offering products, rewards, that you can't find anywhere else in the world, and you can only get it in the next 2 days. So I would encourage people to check out what it is they can get for their money, and know that they are essentially producing the show for me.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I mean, I really wish you all the best of luck with that. And what I'm going to do straight away, as soon as we finish the conversation here, I'm just going to do a direct upload to YouTube, so we can really attack those supporters as soon as possible and get as much money as possible for you guys in the last 2 days. Now, with you mentioning perks there, I mean, is there any in particular that stand out for you personally? What would you say to people who are listening today to persuade them to get involved with this campaign?
Well, in England, Lord of the Rings is very, very popular. And every time I've gone to England to do a convention, a fan convention, I've been overwhelmed at the love and support that people have showed to me and to the movie. People waiting in line for hours and hours just to be able to get an autograph, and spending a lot of money in order to to get into the hall and to do that. So I would say that you can get an entire trilogy box set autographed by me, all three of them. That's one thing. Or I've done a bunch of other movies that some people know. California Man, I can autograph that. Memphis Belle was one, World War II movie about the B-17s that we filmed in England and in Lincolnshire, Binbrook, and a bunch of Royal Air Force bases. And so there's that one you could get autographed. And so you can get them singly, or you can get groupings of three if you like. There's also there's what else? I have I'm trying to think. A Google chat for you can get a Google chat, so you and I, or the backer and I, can have a direct 15-minute Google conversation. They can tell me about their life. They can ask me questions directly about what's interesting to them. That's a really good one. There are, you can pick for people who have more money to invest. And maybe have some issues, local issues that are interesting to them, or national, international issues that are of interest to them. You can go for, I think it's $500. You can go on and help choose the topic for a show. So say it's some issue, I'm not sure. I'm sure in where you are, what's a good local issue where you are?
At the moment, it's the local councils. They're struggling to find funding for certain projects to regenerate the area, so everyone's kind of in a bit of a muddle at the moment to try and get funding to help with certain areas. I mean, I live in a place called Stoke-on-Trent, right in the Midlands, and I mean, for me, it's home, but in terms of council and government, there's always a lot of problems, so it's something that needs to be addressed as soon as possible.
So for $500, you could set that as a topic on the show, and then we'd get expert guests in there, and you could be calling in and contributing to the conversation, and we could, that would be a platform which you could then, I mean, Sean, you've got a network you could pulse it out on, but other people could post it on their Facebook page. They could send it out with their Twitter accounts that attaches a link. They could put, we'll have it up on Google, and you know what I mean? So it's a really good chance to have a conversation about something that's important to you. I mean, maybe, whether or not England should be involved in a ground campaign in Syria, for example, or what would happen in Iran, and what is, the mighty empire of England. Right now we're looking at the American Empire, which is beginning to diminish, and the English sort of experienced that in the 1800s, or not certainly in the early 1900s. And we could talk about the similarities, for example, between our countries. Whatever people want to talk about, we could do. There's also a band, a wristband that I really am proud of. It's red and blue, and it says Civil Discourse, which is the premise of the show, and then Vox Populi, Voice of the People, so it's internationally cool. And there's other ones someone's Twitter. Some people want to follow a Twitter follow for $20. We do a Twitter follow for 25. I think we'll do a tweet, and then there's little bundles that you can get. If they go to startthevox.com, START, and then V as in Victor or value or victory, startthevox.com, then you can look through all these things. We've got some nice graphics that show you what they are, and there's more and more that if somebody wanted me to come to England to speak to their group that for $10,000, which is way less than I usually get. There's travel in England. They'd have to pay for travel too because it's pretty far. But for $10,000, I'll come and speak to the whatever local group or team or whatever. So that's a good value. And for $1,500, I'm talking obviously in U.S. dollars. For $1,500, people can come to Los Angeles and be in the studio as a co-host with me. So really, you can see from all these rewards that what I'm trying to do is make it an interrelationship between the listener viewers, me, and the backers. It's a very critical three-way street in order to get the show to be as robust and perfect an experience for people as it can be, where we can learn, where we can express ourselves, and so we've tried to make the reviews. Oh yeah, cup of coffee. Grab a cup of coffee with the host. It seems because I'm an actor and because people love certain movies like Rudy. I don't know if your audience in England would have heard that, but it's a very very famous movie here in America, and I play a footballer a guy who wants to be a footballer, but he's too small. So because I have popularity in that way, it's a lot of the rewards have to do with me personally, specifically. But then there are others that go straight to the core of the what the audience wants and what people have asked for.
Yeah, there's some really good perks now. I mean, the $10,000 one in particular, I mean, I know personally because I've just literally booked tickets when I'm flying out for this Thursday to America, and it's cost me like $3,500. So, yeah, it's quite a good bargain for $10,000 for you to personally come over and talk to the people about it. Now, I'm looking at the clock here.
If it's England, if it's out of the country, I'll have to put this in the frequently asked questions section of it, they would have to pay, whoever's bringing me out would have to pay for the travel too. Yeah. $10,000 is the money that would go to Vox Populi to help pay for the services and the staff and all the things associated with producing the show. But yeah, I think for some people, I think so. But they got to act in the next 2 days.
Yeah, definitely donate today. And I'm looking at the clock here, Sean. It's saying 18 minutes on the clock. Now, in terms of a Skype donation, I owe you quite a bit of money there, buddy.
You do.
I do. So you definitely have to cash in on that right at the end of the interview. Now,
how much is it? Is it like $200 for that one?
Yeah, something like that, Sean. Yeah, definitely.
I'll settle for 25, and I'll still send you the wristband. What do you think?
Fantastic. Well, I donated 25 last week. It was, so I think I'm already there.
We'll send it to you. You can upgrade it to 50. That's the other thing that's been amazing is people have been in the last 24 hours. Hundreds, at least 200 of the close to 500 backers have upped their pledges. Some by $1, some have doubled it. Some have upped it by half. Some have, really gone crazy. They realized that we put out there a goal that people. T-shirts. There are T-shirts that are out there that are really cool Vox Populi T-shirts, and there's bundles of things where you can get and there's a hat. So there's a hat, a T-shirt, a mug. Do we put the mug out? I don't think we put the mug out yet, but there's lots of different. And if we reach 60,000, which is our second stretch goal, then everybody who's pledged, even if it's only for $1, gets an autographed copy of a watercolor. Actually, it's not watercolor. It's a really cool drawing of the Goonies with where the Goonies first see the pirate ship. And people, when I was showing it, they just loved it. So that's a good perk. That's like taking a lottery out. You give $5 and you might get something that if it was sold separately would be $50 or something like that or more.
That's awesome. That's really good that you've done that. I really hope that it reaches that goal because that does sound pretty cool. I mean, I'd still settle for an 8x10 of 50 First Dates. I always remember you in that film. It's definitely a standout role for me in that.
Oh, I will go and create. Right now, when we get off the Skype, I'll go and create an option that you can buy an 8x10 of a film from my choice.
Fantastic.
That's a great idea.
See, we should have spoke much earlier, shouldn't we? Loads of
Yeah, I mean, but this is what happens the whole time. And the other thing I have to say, because people will watch this interview downloaded, is the support that has come out. The people who are great at social media, who are great at graphics, who are great at all different kinds of skills that it takes to put on a good. I didn't know what it took to do a Kickstarter campaign. I just started, one guy. And now I've got a team of 12 people who are all, the publicity people who are, they're just incredible. They're just incredible. And we could not, it would not have reached 30,000. It might have reached 30,000, but it might not. But it definitely would never have reached what it has now. It probably wouldn't have even reached 30,000 without their help. So I really am indebted to them. I'm in their debt. So, that's something I think you have to say over and over again. And there's one other thing. I don't know if people have offices or mantelpieces or something, but there is one reward that is very special to me that I created. And for the longest time, there was no buyers. And then people started to understand it and they bought it. And that is a glass trophy that says Vox Populi Civil Discourse or something like that, kind of in smoked relief on it. And then the names of the, I call them, donors at the donor level. And their names are on it. So if you want your name sort of immortalized on a glass sculpture, you can do that for, I think it's 1,000 or something like that. So I hope that your listeners, I'm sure that most of them are working people who don't have more than $25 to back a show like this with. But so if they can, I would love it and appreciate it if they did. And if they can't, obviously, then I hope they become a listener of the show and a viewer and a contributor to questions and so forth.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm just thinking with all the acting work that you do, I mean, you're still doing projects even now. How do you manage to work both acting jobs and focus your time onto Vox Populi? You must be a very busy guy, Sean, so it's a pleasure to even catch you for 20 minutes of your time. Next
question. It's hard. It's definitely hard. But when you believe in something, when you're passionate about something, you dedicate yourself to it,
That's very true.
So that's an English accent for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think you should come over here. You'll blend in just fine. Don't worry about it.
But I don't know if I'll use the Samwise accent, the West Country, or if I use it. Oh, now I can't even do it. Hello, or standard received pronunciation.
It has been a while since you've used the Sam accent, though. I could imagine.
But people want me to do it all the time. Potatoes, that kind of thing.
One final question that I wanted to ask you now. It is aside from Vox Populi, but
that's okay.
For this question, I've wanted to ask you for a while. I mean, I've spoke to Brian Chains, I spoke to Joe Maddalena not long ago, and you do work with Profiles in History a lot, and their show, Hollywood Treasure. Is there a season 3 on the horizon? Have you heard there's anything going to be in the pipeline there?
Joe, I don't think so, but Joe is doing another show, a different show. So, his life and work and memorabilia, it continues, thrives, actually. And so you can look forward to following him, following Profiles in History. That's the name of his company too, isn't it? Yeah, so you can follow them and track, what they've got going. They have auctions all the time. And people can get the catalog and look at all the fun stuff, and you can call in or email in and bid on it, or you can just enjoy watching other people. And then Joe will make very clear. I think they're just starting the pilot now, so he'll make very clear what the next step is for the audience. But yeah, I was disappointed that it didn't go through in that format, but there'll be it'll be even better, I'm sure.
Yeah, I really loved the first 2 seasons. I was hooked on it. I mean, one episode after episode, I just couldn't turn it off. It was really fantastic to see all the rare items. And I mean, it's part of what started me to get into prop collecting myself. I haven't got such an extensive collection of the amazingly expensive items that go for sale on that show. But I'm getting there. It's a start.
Listen, mate, if you own a pen, that Sean Connery put in his breast pocket, you're a collector.
Fair enough. I've got an alien head in my cabinet, so I think that's a good start.
You're set. Absolutely. Just make sure you tell your partner so that doesn't cause problems in the relationship.
Oh, well, it's a good job I'm single then, isn't it, Sean? But I'll definitely let her know as soon as the next one comes along.
Well, you might keep it that way, or you might just close the deal. I don't know. It depends on what kind of person you bring home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we went to London Comic Con yesterday, and we were thinking, well, that's the kind of place where you could say, I've got an alien head, and it would pull a girl over there.
Yes. What can I say? I just was at the Alamo Comic Con in San Antonio, Texas, and that I can confirm that that is true.
Fantastic. Congratulations to you, Sean, whatever
Thanks,
happened there.
Thank you so much.
No problem. I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. I mean, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to me, and incredibly with your busy schedule as well. I really do appreciate it. I wish you all the best with reaching that extended goal on Kickstarter, and I'm really glad to give you the idea to throw up those 8x10s, because I think
you reminded me. I have to go do that right now.
Fantastic.
Okay.
No problem.
I'll go do that right now. Thank you, Sean.
No problem. Take care, buddy.
Good to meet you, mate. We'll see you again.